Our help is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Our help is in the name of the Lord, He who has made the heavens, the earth, and all that dwell therein. He who is almighty, He who is immortal, He who is omniscient and omnipotent, and who has made all that there is seen and unseen. He is our helper. He is our advocate. He is our friend. He is our King. He is our Savior. He who has made the heavens and the earth. He is our help. He is your help. He has made all that there is, and we might call upon His name and be saved. These readings that we have today are so full of power and wonders and signs and hard, tough things. These are kind of big-ticket items that we're given today. We have one of them, and they're casting out demons, and another one they're making these prayers, and they're effective for healing. And Jesus is saying, the stuff that caused you to sin, it would be better if you were blind and lamed and crippled and torn apart, and yet still be saved. What is it that is allowing these demons to be cast out from the word of the disciples of Christ and from those who aren't even the disciples? Is it because they've got these magical properties? Or is it the power of God in them and through them? What about the effectual prayer of a righteous man availeth much? That's the way I learned it back in the day. Is it because the righteous man's prayers are great because he's got superpowers? Or is it the power of God in the righteous man and through the righteous man? By being a righteous man, he is not relying on his own powers or abilities, but on the powers and abilities of God Almighty. For it is the righteous man who knows in prayer and in practice that our help is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. But what about the eyes being pulled out and the hands being cut off? And which of us, with that bar set, can say that our eyes have never caused us to sin? Not me. Which of us, with the bar set that high by Jesus Himself, can say our hands and what we do have never led us astray? Not me. Who can say that our feet have never taken us where they should not have taken us? Not me. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So how might we make it into heaven not limping and stumbling, blind and maimed? Our God. Because our help is not in ourselves and our own ability to be perfect, to get everything just right, to never stumble and fall through what we say, through what we do, through where we go. But that our help is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Our salvation is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Our hope, our forgiveness, our mercy, our grace, our healing is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And it is His power and not ours. It is His righteousness and not ours. It is His goodness and not ours, for He is our help. He who is almighty. God is my help. He is our help. He is your help. And that's how any of this can happen. That's how these great and powerful deeds can be done. Not by us so much as it is through us. Not our power, but His. Given graciously to His people when we ask for His help. With this being the year of the Bible, I thought I would take the opportunity that the lectionary affords and tell you a Bible story. The lectionary, that 3-year cycle of Bible readings where we get a little bit of the Old Testament, a little bit of the Epistle, a little bit of a Psalm, a little bit of Gospel, and then by the end of 3 years, we've pretty much covered the whole deal, has given us our one and only reading from Esther for this year. We kind of get the conclusion of the Esther story. But it's a great story. And so I'm going to take a couple of minutes, and I want, in this year of the Bible, to tell you, to make sure that you know the story of Queen Esther. Not only is it just a fantastic story. I mean, it's kings and it's queens and there's villains and there's heroes and there's faithfulness and there's courage. And it's just a great, great story. But it is a story in God's holy word that I think has something for us today and always. And the story of Esther, even though we get just the tail end of it, is worth knowing. So, let me set the stage. This is in the period referred to as the Babylonian captivity or exile. Israel has been conquered by Babylon. Their unfaithfulness has caused the Lord to allow them to be overrun and conquered. And so they have been. The biggest, baddest dude on the block has beaten them up and taken their lunch. All of the people picked up all the stuff, carried away, off, back to Babylon. Well, guess what? When you're the biggest, baddest dude on the block, there's always somebody bigger and badder. And Babylon didn't last that long, and now there's a new big kid on the block, and his name is Persia. Persia now owns this entire area, and they are the biggest, baddest bully on the block. Frankly, the biggest, baddest empire in the world at this time. That is where the Jews find themselves in exile as captives of this mighty Persian empire and their king, Ahasuerus, which I don't like saying because it sounds weird, so I will give him the other name traditionally he is known by. Let's call him Xerxes. All right? King Xerxes, the king of Persia, is the king of the mightiest empire on earth, and he knows it. He's that kind of guy. The book actually starts with King Xerxes wanting to parade his wife in. Come on, Queen Vashti, I want to show you off to all the boys. And she refuses. Just because of that, he ships her off to no man's land, never to be heard of again. So the book actually starts off with the mighty King Xerxes in need of a queen. So he comes up with something that's a little bit like a beauty pageant, but more like a year-long episode of Survivor, where the most beautiful women in the kingdom are brought in to compete against each other for an entire year of beauty and talent and charm and grace. Well, there is a young Jewish woman named Esther who has been raised by her cousin Mordecai. Her parents are long dead, and Mordecai is like a father to her. And Mordecai has a plan. He says, Esther, you need to enter this contest. I think you can win. But if you do win, think of the good that you can do for all of your people. Just don't say you're a Jew. Do your best, and I'm convinced this will all work out. So she does it. And Esther enters this year-long beauty pageant, sort of survivalist combat wherewithal, and she wins. Esther wins. And she is proclaimed the new queen of Persia. Well, Mordecai starts hanging around by the palace because he wants to see his cousin who he raised. And so because he's hanging around the palace so he has easy access to her, he happens to overhear some of the officials in Xerxes' court plot to assassinate the king. Well, he passes that along to Esther. Esther passes it along to the king, and the assassination plot is foiled. The king is so happy that this just guy, because he has no idea the connection, but this guy, Mordecai, has basically saved his life, that he has Mordecai's name and what he's done inscribed in the annals of his kingdom. He intends to reward Mordecai, but, he's a king, he's got stuff on his plate, and he basically forgets all about it. So we move on from here, and now that we've had some job openings for the jobs that the conspirators have left behind. Xerxes is in need of a new #1 guy. So he finds one. This guy named Haman. And oh, does Haman like being the #1 guy. Haman loves being the sort of guy who walks around town. Oh yeah, it's me, Haman, #1 guy. As a matter of fact, what are you doing not bowing and groveling before me? Now. I mean now, do it. And so wherever he went, he expected the crowds to just follow. Oh, Haman, you're just the best and you're the most awesome. To worship and glorify his very footsteps. But this one guy wouldn't do it. And Haman was so irritated, he was so insulted, that this one man would dare disrespect him and not bow down. He just had to do something about it. That dirty, wicked Mordecai. He will not bow before me? Well, we'll see about that. Well, Mordecai, of course, as a faithful Jew, would never bow before a mortal man. He knew never to worship anyone but God alone. And he was willing to deal with the consequences. And so every day, when Haman passed by, in faithful defiance, Mordecai would just stand there and take it. Well, Haman couldn't let it, he just could not let that stand. So, he's got a plan. Not only, this is going to be good, not only am I going to get rid of this guy Mordecai. Wait for this. The reason he's disrespecting me is this whole crazy Judaism thing. I've got a plan where we can wipe every Jew out in one fell swoop. So he goes to King Xerxes and he lays it all out. Look, your kingdom is filled with these foreigners. And they've got these weird customs. And they've got this crazy religion. And it makes them disloyal and it makes them dangerous. You have got to do something about it before they do something to you. I've got this plan, but I'm just saying. And Xerxes says, yeah, okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. You're my #1 guy after all. I trust you. I'll just sign whatever you say, and you go make it happen. What the plan was to have all of the Jews executed at once. In one fell swoop, he would not only get his revenge on Mordecai, but he would exterminate every Jew in Persia. It would be genocide on a worldwide scale of all of God's people. And so he rolled some dice, some Purim, to find out the day when this dread event would happen. And word started to spread amongst the Jews about what was going to happen on that terrible day. And they were frightened. And they were panicking. And they didn't know what to do. Mordecai rushed to give Queen Esther an update because she had no idea what was happening. He explained to her what Haman's plot was, and Esther said, what do you expect me to do about it? Well, Mordecai was reminding her, you're the queen. And she said, yeah, I'm the queen, but remember what happened to the last one? I mean, it's not like I have any real power here. If this is coming from Xerxes and he wants it to happen, if I go against him, all it means is I get killed first. Mordecai, faithful Mordecai, he tells her this in Esther chapter 4. Do not think to yourself that in the king's palace you will escape more than any of the other Jews. For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place. But you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this. Maybe, he says to Esther, this is why God allowed you to be queen in the first place. It was for this moment here. But I got to tell you, Esther, if you're not the woman I think you are, if you're not the woman I raised, if you don't have the guts to stand up and do the right thing, you know what's going to happen? God's going to save his people anyway. It just won't come through you. Okay, Esther said. Okay, you're right. And Esther, full of courage, cooked up her own plan. She went to see the king, which, uninvited, was dangerous enough. But she did something for the king. We have no idea what. But let's just say it was so pleasing to the king that he made one of those Bible promises we get every now and again. Oh, I would give you anything you want, up to half of my kingdom. So what does Esther ask for? She says, oh, actually, the only thing I really want is to cook you dinner. What I want more than anything else is to throw you a party. Just a private little thing. Something that I can honor you with. We'll just invite a couple of people, but I'll do it tomorrow night, and I'll cook this feast, and it'll be great. Just you, just me, and maybe, I don't know. How about Haman, your number 2 guy? Okay, Xerxes says, it sounds like a plan. And so, Xerxes tells Haman, you are expected at a private feast. Tomorrow night, it's just going to be you, and me, and the queen. And Haman said, okay now, it's all coming up Haman. And he goes home and he tells his wife and he brags to all of his friends, guess who's having a party for him? This guy. That's right. That's right. Tomorrow is my day. It is my big, big day. And the king and the queen will honor me. And it's going to be the greatest day of my life. And he is so excited. And he is so enthusiastic. His wife says, I've got an idea. Why don't you build a gigantic gallows right here in the front yard so that you can personally kill Mordecai on the same day that all those other Jews are killed. What a great idea, Haman says. What a day tomorrow's going to be. I'm going to go to the palace. I'm going to get on with this party. I'm going to be able to kill Mordecai in front of my own house. It doesn't get any better than this. So, he goes to bed in the best mood ever. King Xerxes, on the other hand, does not have a good night. For some reason, he can't sleep. He suffers with insomnia. So he asks some of his ministers to come, and to put him to sleep, he wants to read from the annals of the book of the kingdom. To me, this sounds kind of like when you can't sleep and you dig out your high school algebra book, hoping for something boring enough to put you to sleep again. So they start reading out of the annals of his kingdom, and what do they get to? Mordecai. And the king, instead of getting put to sleep, it wakes up, oh, wait a second, I remember that guy. He was the one who helped save my life, right? Yes, almighty king. What did we ever do to that guy? I mean, wasn't I going to reward him? Oh, yes, almighty king, but we haven't done anything yet. Huh. Well, that's a shame. Really intended to do something nice. But you know what? Tomorrow, I'm going to make sure we do something really nice to reward Mordecai. Remind me in the morning, will you? And off to sleep he goes. So the morning time comes, and in comes Haman. He's ready to go. And he is super excited to tell the king about this gigantic gallows he just had built at his house. I mean, like, you got to come see it. It's the coolest. You know, Mordecai will swing so high. It's going to be awesome. But before he gets a word out, the king says, oh, dear Haman, you are my most trusted advisor. Yes, O king. Tell me, if I really wanted to honor someone, I mean, I want to show not just this guy, but everyone how much I loved him and cared for him and respected him. How do you think I should do that? And Haman says, oh, go on. No, really, the king said, how can I honor someone so he really knows how much I love him? And Haman says, oh, well, far be it from me to say this. I'm blushing. I don't know. know, maybe royal robes and a crown and a parade and all sorts of great stuff. I'm just saying. And Xerxes says, that is a great idea. Okay, do me a favor, go do all that for Mordecai. And Haman's face just drops. But he knows he can't go against the king. He's got to put a robe around Mordecai, and he's got to put a crown on Mordecai, and he's got to put him on a parade. It's supposed to be my day, my crown, and they should be having a party and a parade about me. And Mordecai, just you wait. Just you wait. After the party tonight, it's all going down, and then, then I will have my revenge. But before he could do anything about it, he's summoned back to the palace for that feast. So Queen Esther has prepared this beautiful party, this little private feast just for the three of them, and it's wonderful, and it's great, and it goes so well that once again King Xerxes says, my beautiful and beloved queen, what can I give you? Anything that you desire, up to half my kingdom, all you have to do is name it, and it's yours. And Esther says, oh dear and mighty king, I just asked for, I don't know, is it even possible? I don't mean to be presumptuous, but any chance I could not be murdered tomorrow? Me and my family and all of my people. I'm just saying, if it was slavery, I could deal with that, but any chance I could not be killed. What? What? The king says. What in the world are you talking about? No one would dare harm a hair of your head. And she said, well, I don't know what to tell you, dear king, but there's a royal decree, and tomorrow I and all of the other Jews are to be executed at once. No, the king says. Who would dare try to pull a fast one on me? Who would dare try to lay a finger on my beloved and beautiful queen? Whoever would have done anything like this, their life is forfeit, and they will be utterly and completely destroyed. Who would dare do such a thing? And Esther says, oh, is that guy Haman? And the king flips out. And he's yelling, and he's screaming, and he's threatening, and he's storming up and down and back and forth. He's going in the room and out of the room and muttering to himself and calling down curses among Haman. And Haman is just terrified. The king leaves the room for a second, and he throws himself on Esther. Oh, please, please save me. He's begging for his life. And then just at that moment, King Xerxes comes back in, and what does he see other than Haman on top of his wife? And that's it! And he grabs him and he rips him off, and you're gonna die now. And very helpfully, some of the court attendants who have come in at this point say, actually, O mighty king, Haman just had this giant gallows built in his own home. I mean, I'm just saying. And so on the gallows that Haman intended to exact his revenge on faithful Mordecai are the gallows upon which Haman meets a terrible end. Mordecai is rewarded. The Jews are spared and saved. And Queen Esther is honored. Their help was in the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And yet, it took the faithfulness of Mordecai, it took the courage and the bravery of Esther. And yet, if she had not done that, their help was still going to be in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. It's just that through her own bravery and courage, she was privileged to be a part of God's mighty plan to save his people. Whenever I think about this story, I'm reminded of that poem that you've probably heard before. There was an important job to do, and everybody was asked to do it. Everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody would have done it, but nobody did. Somebody got angry because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody would do it, but nobody realized anybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. To do great things. Great things. We see great things in our readings. The salvation of the Jews, healing prayer, the casting out of demons, and the salvation of God himself. Who will do that? Who will be a part of it? Who can show the faithfulness of Mordecai and the bravery of Esther and say, Lord, use me, because maybe, just maybe, that's why you've put me here right now. Maybe, just maybe, that's why you have given me what you've given me right here and right now. Maybe, just maybe, that's why who I am, with what I know how to do, with the assets and resources you've given me, with the people that I know and the relationships that I've been blessed with. Maybe it is to answer this call to meet this need right here and right now. Like the faithfulness of Mordecai and the bravery of Esther. To not take the easy way out or the safe way out, but to be willing to take the hard way, sometimes the scary way, but to take the right way. Do what you ought, do what you could, and see great things happen. Not because you're so great, but because God is. He will be the help of his people. He who is the maker of heaven and earth, in his name his people will be helped. His people will be blessed, and his people will be saved. But maybe, just maybe, some of that might come through you. But you might need the faithfulness of Mordecai, or the courage of Esther. God's will is going to happen one way or the other. But maybe, just maybe, there's a part for you to play. Not because you're so great, but because he is. His power in you, his power through you. To not always take the easy way or safe way, but through the grace of God and his power to take the right way. To be the somebody who actually gets the job done, not leaving it to nobody at all. But that the power of God might be manifest in your life and might be a blessing, a hope, and a salvation to others. The faithfulness of Mordecai, the courage, the bravery of Esther, the queen. Maybe, just maybe, you are who you are, right here, right now, with what you know and what you've got, so that others might be blessed, might be healed, and might be saved through you. For their help and our help is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven